so that we can, so this session will be posted on YouTube as well, so that you are like, oh, I didn't take notes or whatever. You can do that. You can watch it later. And then finally, in the corner here of the chat, if the chat is open, if you're on a laptop, you will see kind of an ellipses at the bottom of the chat. And you can use that at the end of the session to save it. If you wanted, if anybody typed something you thought was good, or, you know, people's social handles or whatever it is, that is a very good tool, I think. So that is my spiel. Hello, welcome, happy summer, happy July. David, how are you?
I am swell. Things are good.
Good.
Yeah, I hope everyone else is well. Looking forward to the 4th of July.
Yes.
By the way, I'd like to introduce myself. My first time here with all these wonderful professionals. My name's Ron Schnitker. David, we had the pleasure of meeting. Okay, I had a session with you. So it's in fact, a few years ago, I got evaluated by Carol Monda, which got me started in the voiceover. So my last name is Schnitker. I don't have it up there. And the host today is, I've been listening to you. What is your name again?
Oh, my name's Siobhan. I'll fix that in the chat.
Yes, Siobhan. Yes, I think we've actually spoken at some point, in the past, but glad to be here.
Great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, great to hear from you again.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so let's get this started. I'm going to mute people just so that to diminish the chaos. Again, not because I don't love you, but yes. Okay, and I think we are already rocking and rolling here. I love everyone saying hello and good afternoon. And it's so nice to meet you, Ron. And Kunjan, hi, nice to have you. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you all over here.
We're gonna jump right into it with his question, and he's asking about a home audition via voices.com or voices123. Can scripts be altered and sent by the VO artists to help give it a more natural read and send, rather than asking them if it's okay to alter the scripts? So, okay, can you clarify this question? Are you saying, like, should I just do it and then ask for forgiveness?
Well, the reason why I asked this is if you're on voices.com, voice123, and the auditions come in, obviously, I think the quicker you get your audition to them, the quicker that you'll most likely land it. And sometimes when I'm doing a read and I feel like I can't give it a more, the natural read from what it is of the script, but if I change a word to make it more like myself, I can read it more correctly and give it the read that I would like to read, rather than asking them, hey, can I change this? Because I don't really get a response back. So I figured the quicker that I can get the audition to them, the quicker I'm on their table. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I can tackle that. I can't imagine. First of all, it's a very interesting question. I should say that. One that I'm not sure I've ever been asked before, and sometimes I think that would never happen again, but here we go. I'd have to say that as a professional working voice actor, being able to read a script in a natural delivery, even when reading verbatim, is such a basic and essential part of the foundation of what being a voice actor is, that it shouldn't take you any additional time. In other words, you should not require extra time to sound natural, because being a voice actor is being able to read someone else's script in a natural sounding voice. And I get the fact that it's very challenging to do so, right? Which is why you guys are paid more than someone who works at a grocery store, perhaps, because there's a lot of special skill sets, right? You're reading someone else's words, incorporating their tempo, their pacing, the words they want to emphasize, and it doesn't necessarily match the way you naturally speak. But
David, I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize. There's a little bit of lag interference. I don't know if I'm the only one that's getting it.
I was asking that in the chat, Kunjan. I was like, are people having trouble? Yeah, you're breaking up, David.
Well, that sucks.
Take two.
Seriously, I have super good internet. Can you not hear me, or is it just breaking up?
Oh, no, now you're good. Yeah, now you're much better. All right, take two, David.
Okay. So I haven't changed anything, which is weird. So, you know, the old joke, okay, I just won't move and maybe everything stays the same, but if I talk, I'm moving. So theoretically, I can't answer your question if I don't move. Anyway, let me know if my sound goes out again. I'll start again. What I was saying is that being a voice actor is about reading someone's script, a client's script in a natural voice. So it shouldn't take you extra time to do that. And that is the core function of who you are supposed to be, what you're supposed to do. Again, it shouldn't take you extra time to try to make something sound natural. You shouldn't have to modify the script to be able to do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to take the client's words and directions and do it in a natural, realistic, authentic style delivery. So I don't really understand why that is the case, why you feel that you need to change words to get through the material more quickly. I will also say that being a successful voice actor, by my definition, is not only being able to win auditions and perform well for clients, so you retain those clients, but it's also being able to do your job efficiently. When I coach voice actors, those are the two things I really look for, or try to get the voice actors to do, right? Do what you're supposed to do and be able to do it quickly. Because if you're paid a certain set fee for a job, whether it takes you 10 minutes or 10 hours, the client doesn't care as long as they get the job back. But it does make a difference to you. If you can do it in 10 minutes rather than 10 hours, then you're just more efficient. You're making more money essentially per hour, right? And you have more free time or more time to practice or audition for other jobs and so on. So I wouldn't make it a practice of changing the words. All that said, if you change a couple of words, I'm not sure if you just mean like you contract a couple of words, and if you contract a couple of words or slightly alter a couple of words, maybe the client won't even notice, and maybe they will. Some clients are sticklers, and some are not. For example, we've had clients in our studio who want something absolutely verbatim, and if we're off by a letter, they are upset. And like I said, some clients don't care. It depends upon the demographic that's listening to the voiceover, the purpose of the voiceover. It depends on a lot of variables. So you do take a chance. I have absolutely seen clients turn away from certain voice actors during the casting process because the voice actors have changed the script. The clients think, well, if they can't even get it right in a 15-second audition, well, then how can I trust this voice actor to record a 3-hour training video from home? So there are times that it will work against you. And am I still clear, by the way, everyone?
You started having interference again. Yeah, yeah. Barry's like, yeah.
Yeah, but that makes sense,
well,
David. Thank you.
Okay. I might move my position. I don't know what it is, but I think that for, yeah, Siobhan, while you read the next question, and maybe you can do a little ad lib and stall, I'm going to change my location because I'm not sure what else to do. So just kind of talk about Edge Studio for a while. Take this opportunity, plug our company.
Well, you actually sound very clear right now.
Yeah, that's really weird. But maybe, I don't know. Yeah, unclear.
Oh,
I mean,
so,
I know. Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep going. If I break up again, then I'll move. Okay, so let's go on to it.
Okay. Okay.
David, you
Wonderful.
sounded very clear when you said plug the company, though.
It's a little button I have, clear, unclear, clear, unclear.
Oh, what a day. Okay, great. And again, I think it helps. I'm gonna start mute people. It helps if everybody's muted but the speaker, I think. I mean, that's just a theory, but maybe. Okay, moving along. Hey, what's up, Moxie? This is nice. What are the key mistakes beginners make when auditioning? Or is there a mistake, David, that you feel new folks make when submitting auditions?
Yeah, new folks and sometimes even long-time established professional voice actors make mistakes. I wouldn't even know where to begin. There are so many mistakes that voice actors make when submitting auditions. Let me clarify. Sorry, first let me ask, am I clear right now? Okay, I see a lot of heads shaking, yes, okay. So Siobhan, if I break up again, just stop me in the midst of an answer and I'll do something. So here's what I would say. There are certainly a lot of types of errors, and maybe it makes more sense to talk about the types of errors rather than the specific errors. So there are errors in which voice actors make by technical errors that happen all of the time, meaning that your sound studio, your recording studio. Siobhan, you're giving me a.
Yeah, you're breaking up, David. I'm so sorry,
Okay.
y'all. Bear with us.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. Let me change where I am, okay? I'm going to shut off for just a second, okay, guys? Give me about 30 seconds.
Okay, in the meantime, everyone scan the screens and look for Bill Lord. Because he so I did this thing, you know, on Zoom you can just be a person. I made Kevin my background on Zoom at one point in an Edge meeting. Kevin's one of our engineers and I miss him, so I pretend that I'm hanging out with him. And then and I did David too. Look at this. This is great. So you could I was like with David, and then I did Kevin. Who's Kevin? And so then what Bill did is Bill got real mad. Bill, how are you, Bill?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
And by the way, you've never looked more fabulous than you do today over my shoulder. At least over my shoulder.
It's my best look. It's my strongest look. It's very funny. It was actually great because I was scanning the screens to be like, oh, are a bunch of people unmuted maybe is the problem. And that's when I saw you because you were on my second screen. But now you've moved because you spoke. So you've moved around. It's, you know, the magic of this thing. But anyway, that looks.
You know, I had to do
Well,
it.
thank you. And you know what? And I love it. And I'm going to stay committed to it. And I appreciate a good Zoom laugh. And this is my social life. So. And now you're Tiger King. And David's back. Hi, David.
Yeah, I'm back. So hopefully I sound okay. I know I'm in a darker room, but I'm right next to our base. How's the sound?
Okay. Okay, good.
Is it clear, Siobhan?
You sound clear to me. Yes.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience and chill vibes. You know,
Yeah.
This is Summer David. He's like mic'd. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, so we're talking about mistakes, and the biggest mistake you can have is having poor connectivity, which is exactly what I just did. So it can happen to everyone. So here's the thing. When voice actors submit auditions, there are so many different errors that happen on a regular basis. So I was saying, and it may not have been clear, I think it makes more sense for me to just sort of to bucket list some of the errors that happen on a regular basis. By the way, Siobhan, am I still clear? Okay. So there are studio technical errors, meaning levels are way too low, voice actors are popping, they're sibilant, it's not broadcast quality that we're receiving. Audio is only in one channel, meaning the left or the right. I mean, all sorts of things happen. We received an audition yesterday or 2 days ago that someone had a massive flange on their audition. I have no idea why. And we received another one just yesterday where someone had an incredible amount of reverb added to their slate. It makes no sense. The second type of error we get are, I would say, more technical errors in terms of voice actors not slating correctly, not naming their files correctly, reading the wrong portion of the script. You know, a voice actor is only going to be hired if the client can trust them. And that's more true today than ever before because you guys are generally hired from your home studio or hired to work from your home studio, which means the client is not there, which means they are trusting you to be able to do whatever it is that they need done. So if you can't even get the slate correct or whatever it is, a file name correct, then they can't possibly trust you. And I will tell you that at least 25% of auditions have a slating issue. It is maybe 20%. It is remarkable. It's unfathomable. It still blows my mind every day, every audition, that so many voice actors slate incorrectly. The client will say first initial, last initial. We get full names. I mean, just someone's client says slate at the beginning, but the voice actor slates at the end. I mean, just just follow directions, guys. The third type of error from voice actors is just vocal performance errors, whereas the voice actor doesn't convey the tone, the emphasis, whatever it is that the client has asked for in the script. So those are sort of, I would say, the three buckets of errors. I mean, I could talk for a year on errors and specifically, but hopefully that helps.
That's awesome. Can I get, some people are saying that David's too low sounding. Do people agree with that? Kind of low? Okay. If you want to boost your volume, he sounds good to me now, but okay. Maybe if you can boost it a bit for us, if your speakers blow out, I apologize in advance. From Alexis, I've got, sometimes you hear people in the VO community talk about trends in VO. Can you talk about what that means? Is it different types of voices or styles or reads? And should you try to keep up with these trends or just do your own thing and hope they like you?
Siobhan, so I just changed my mic. Is it more clear? Yes? Cool. Okay. So just ask that question again. My goodness. So I've made so many technical errors. It's amazing.
Okay. The question was about voiceover trends and if that's a thing and what that means. Like, is it a type of voice or style or read? And should you try to keep up with trends or just do your own thing?
Wow, that's a terrific question. Should you keep up with trends or do your own thing? And the answer is, well, I think the question should not be a one or the other. I think the question is, how do I do both things simultaneously? I mean, you have to keep up with trends because trend by definition means that this is what the client currently wants and you need to deliver what the client wants. But part of being a voiceover, rather a voice actor, is being yourself. So we come back to the first question we had. Your job as a voice actor is to be yourself, yet follow the client's direction. In other words, you need to merge those two worlds together. It's not about finding a balance between the two. It's not about compromising the two, or it's about doing both simultaneously. So when I think of trends, I think of the vocal style that is more common. Now, more specifically, there are certainly more common vocal types, right? Many years ago, many years ago, it was the announcer. And then we had a period of time, maybe 15, 20 years ago, where the sarcastic tone was quite popular. I've never heard a type of voice that has completely gone away. In other words, while the announcer was very big 30, 40 years ago, it still exists. Not as common today, but it still does exist. And the sarcastic tone that came out in the 15 or 20 years ago still exists. But right now, and as it's been for many years, a very natural, regular person, talk to one person at a time voice tends to be the most commonly requested style that clients want. So in general, you need to be delivering what the client wants, but incorporate your own self. Clients like to, here's what I can say, clients want to generally hire a voice actor who brings into the delivery their own personality. You have to deliver some type of personality, and you do that in a natural style voice or whatever style the client wants. So yeah, it's an interesting question, but like I said, you need to do both at the same time. The other thing about trends, and maybe you meant this, is that are there trending genres in our industry, as opposed to what I just spoke about being trending voice types. And there are genres which come and go. And right now, some of the bigger genres, some of the newer genres are narrated apps and things of that nature. They're still in. I think narrated apps are still in their infancy. I mean, there are thousands of them out there right now, thousands of apps that have some type of narration, and I see that growing very, very quickly. VR, and there's a whole bunch of different genres which are growing right now. So hopefully that helps.
Okay, David, I'm gonna ask you to switch back to your other mic because we had a lot of interference again. So
no.
I didn't want to interrupt you because I want to get through the actual content. So I was like, I'm gonna power through. But yeah, let's try the other mic and then see, and then yeah, we'll just keep strategizing. Thank you for bearing with us. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm
while
really
you're,
sorry, everyone.
okay. Did you switch?
No, but I'm in the process of doing so right now.
In the process. Okay. So I'm going to say hello to Bob, who is asking about, ooh, okay. I don't know what just happened there.
Yeah,
David.
sorry,
Okay.
that's me switching.
How do Bob's saying, how do I use frequency response graphs when narrowing down which few mics I should audition?
That's another really interesting question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I feel like I first need to define, for some people who may not know, I need to define what a frequency graph is. So when you look at sound, and I do mean when you look at it, okay, not when you hear it, but when you look at sound, you can see one of the variables is the pitch, whether it's a higher pitch or a lower pitch, and that is graphed out. In fact, if you guys remember back to like the 1980s, when in our cars we had 7-band equalizers or 11-band equalizers with the bass on the left side and the treble on the right side, that's sort of a visual representation of what I'm talking about. Of course, today everything is digital, so rather than having the entire sound spectrum or the pitch range broken up into 7 or 11 bands, you have a continuous frequency graph. And when you record voiceover, you can select, using your equalizer, you can select what frequencies you want to boost or decrease. And there are certain frequencies in everyone's voice which are unpleasant sounding, and there are certain frequencies in everyone's voice which are dominant sounding, which sound good. And ideally, when you purchase a microphone, you find a microphone that works for your voice, that reacts to your voice very well, and then of course you go to your equalizer and you tailor it. I'm going to
Okay,
interrupt
David.
myself and ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna interrupt you because we're just, if the audio is just not, it's just not working. So we're gonna try. I've never had to do this, but I think I can. I don't. Let me see if I can figure out. But let's turn our cameras off, my people, which makes me sad. But I think
Well,
that
wait. How is this right now? Any better,
that's
Siobhan?
that sounds better. But we keep having problems when you start to sound better. So I'm just trying to like have a, I don't know, you know? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn my camera off, like, and David, keep going, and we'll see if that helps. Because some people are suggesting that might be the thing. I'm not sure that is what it is, but let's see.
Yeah, I'm going to try one. Siobhan, listen, I'm going to try one more location because I feel absolutely horrible for everyone who's on this call who's dedicated their time to this,
I
and
know.
they're not getting anything for it. So let me just try one more thing here. I'm moving again. Guys, I don't know how to apologize enough for this. Siobhan, how is my sound right now?
That's good. It sounds good. Yes, Alana, thank you. It's totally Zoom. We'll just blame Zoom because Zoom's not able to defend itself. That's how we do. Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna riff. I can riff. We just wrapped our casting ad agency class, and I think we don't have a special class offering this month that I can recall. But I can give you a code right now while we are waiting. We have a $25 off coaching at Edge Studio for any coach that you fancy. And the code is simply AMA. And you can use it at this link right here. And you get $25 off for any session with any kind of genre of any of our many coaches. And they're all amazing. So that's my little tap dance for you. Okay, and we've got David, and we are back.
This is room number 3. Take number 3. How do I sound?
You sound good. Randy, you're sweet. Randy's asking about my webcam. Randy, this is just my like on my MacBook Pro, but it's a 2019, so I don't know. I actually figured out how to hook up a DSLR to like, I got real wild these days because, what else are we doing in quarantine? Okay, let us continue. Thank you, everyone. I hope we feel, okay, and I'm just scrolling back up. Okay, Barry, my dear friend, asking for a home studio. If I have to have an average size window as part of the space, how do you suggest I treat it acoustically? Meaning that you wish there wasn't, but there is a window in your home studio? I think that might be I don't know where you are, Barry. I can't see you suddenly.
Yeah,
but, yeah, I think that's what he means.
Yeah, that's a very straightforward question.
Yeah, that is what I mean. Sorry, that's what I, yes. If I have to live with that, what's the best way to make believe it's, to try to make it disappear?
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes windows are a problem. Let me first ask, can you hear me okay? All right, thumbs up. More thumbs up that time than ever before. Goodness. Cross your fingers, everyone. Cross those fingers. If I was casting myself, I would fire myself right now. So I just want to go back and finish the answer to that last question because I didn't get to the more important part. We're talking about EQ spectrums, and last I said is that every voice has some frequencies which are more dominant and sound better, and every voice has some areas which just are unpleasant sounding or are unnecessary in a sound file. When you purchase a microphone, you need to understand the acoustics of your own voice, your natural voice. Where are its strengths and where are its weaknesses? You need to understand the acoustics of your studio, and only then can you purchase the right microphone. Every time you purchase a microphone, one of the variables that you can look at, one of the specifications of that microphone, is the frequency that microphone picks up. As a voice actor, none of our voices have super low frequencies. So you may be able to get by with a microphone that is a bit lower in quality because it doesn't need to pick up super duper low frequencies. Like, for example, a microphone that picks up bass guitar or bass drum. You don't have those frequencies natural in your voice. So I can't tell you which microphones are necessarily good, but I can tell you work with a qualified engineer who can listen to your voice, tell you which frequency spectrum is right for you, and then make sure you buy a microphone that will capture that particular frequency spectrum. Now to the next question, but first let me interrupt and ask if my voice is still okay. Okay, cool. So if you have a window, it's really not, it may or may not pose a problem. When it comes to acoustics of your studio, there are two different things that you need to think about. One is the sound proofing, the other is sound absorption. In terms of sound proofing, a window can pose a challenge because generally a typical window, even if it's double pane, for example, is going to let a lot of sound through. So if you live on a busy street, for example, or there are people outside your window talking, like kids playing in a road or something like that, hopefully they're on the sidewalk, not the road, but you get the point. Those sounds will probably come in. A lawnmower, for example, will come in through a closed window, even a double pane window. So if you are stuck with a window, unless you're going to build massive soundproofed walls, which are pretty expensive to do so and eat up a lot of space, then I would suggest to just work around noise. So if you know that the lawn is being cut Tuesday mornings at 3 in the afternoon, then just don't record Tuesdays at 3 in the afternoon. The other component is, as I said, sound absorption. And for that, it's simple. Buy a thick piece of foam, at least 1 inch thick, preferably 2 inches thick. Cut it larger than the window and put it over the window. Overlap the window. Your studio should have virtually every surface area covered with something soft material, because that soft material absorbs the sound from bouncing around. If you don't have soft material, then your voice will bounce around, the sound waves will bounce around and create an echo like or a very resonant recording, which is a huge turnoff to voice actors. So I hope that helps.
I was muted. Okay, so
I thought I lost my connection again, and I was thinking,
you're like,
goodness,
oh no.
no way.
It was me. Okay, so on the subject of home studio, we've had this kind of question before. This is from Lisa. So David, can you run us through it once again? What basics can I begin with to build home studio? We're all gonna have this memorized, but let's.
Yeah. I will answer that question, but I'd like to talk about something else. I want to talk about the difference between a professional voice actor and non-professional voice actor, and you'll understand why I'm saying this now. This is going back 31 years ago when this business began, right? When voice actors used to come into the studio to record auditions. Home studios were not really they were not technically possible unless you had a crazy amount of money, right? Equipment costs have come down and all that good stuff. So it's, the barrier to entry of having a home studio now is very simple. But 31 years ago, virtually every job we did, voice actors came into our studio and recorded. And clients would typically be there and would help through the casting process. And clients generally would feel more comfortable hiring a voice actor who was established, who was experienced. And one of the biggest indicators that a voice actor was inexperienced was that the voice actor became fluttered every time there was a mistake. If a newbie, for example.
David, I'm so sorry. Okay, people are hearing the static again, and I'm hearing it too. And people are suggesting you leaving the call and coming back in. I don't know if that will do it. I'm gonna turn off my camera. And maybe that will help if we turn off our cameras.
Wait, Siobhan, hold on 1 second. Let me try something here.
Okay, because that's what folks are suggesting. I don't know if that, but we think it's Zoom. We think it's not you. Let me see. I don't think I can turn off everyone's cameras as an executive power. I can play a sound when they come or go. But yes, if you would do that for me, I will miss you. And I like looking at your beautiful faces. But I think that that's kind of where we're at right now. So that we can just get this audio plug into the network. Hardwired connection is, I know I don't have that though. I don't have the ability to do that. Okay. I wonder if I can turn off your camera. I can.
Okay, Siobhan.
Yeah.
I've just changed a couple of settings here.
Bob, did I get you? I think I got you, Bob, in the chat. Did I get you? I did try to turn your camera. Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay now? Hello?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
can you give me, yeah, am I okay?
Yeah.
You sound good in Virginia.
Thank you.
No,
You sound good from Silver Spring.
Cool.
Oh, thanks, guys. Tony's giving you a thumbs up.
Yeah, so how much of what I was saying did you hear, or should I start again?
Start again.
Yeah.
Can you please repeat?
Please
Okay.
repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had chose to not answer that question first, and I will answer the question, but something came to mind that I wanted to discuss, and I think it's very related to what's happening in my question. There's a huge difference between experienced voice actors and inexperienced voice actors. And a client virtually will never hire an inexperienced voice actor. It's scary, right? Why would you want to hire someone if they haven't been there, done that? Clients feel much more comfortable hiring someone who has been there, who has done that. And by the way, am I still okay, you guys? Thumbs up or
David,
anything?
I've turned off your video. in hopes that that helps. But okay, we're saying it's okay. So we're going to keep your video off too.
Okay. And you
Okay.
can't hear me though? I'm okay. I mean, audio wise?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that clients really prefer and generally will hire a voice actor who sounds experienced, who comes across as experienced. And one of the biggest indicators that a voice actor is not experienced is when they flutter when there are technical issues. Over the years, I have worked with tens of thousands of voice actors. And usually when a voice actor makes an error, within a second, myself, the engineer, the clients, we know immediately if that voice actor is new and someone that we're sort of fearful of trusting, or if they are experienced and we can continue to trust them even though they have a technical issue. When the voice actor is brand new to the industry and they lose connectivity, or they have the wrong script printed out, or whatever goes awry, or they stumble on a word repeatedly, the new voice actor tends to immediately turn red, starts sweating, starts apologizing profusely, starts hyperventilating, and all of these things, whereas someone who is professional will say, hey guys, sorry about this, and they will just take care of the error and move on. And it is, I think, a wonderful lesson for me and for everyone else to think, okay, so I'm having horrible connectivity here and I don't know why, and it's certainly something that I will take care of as soon as we're off of this call. I'll have to figure out what's going on, but I'm not, you can't see me now, but I'm not sweating. I'm not hyperventilating. And that makes a big difference. I have had sessions where a voice actor, a pro voice actor, stumbles on the same word 10 times, 20 times, and they chuckle. And eventually they'll say something to the client like, man, you think after all of these years of doing voiceover, I'd be able to read a script? How funny is this? Let me try again. Whereas the new voice actor, when they sweat, they start overworking their words and everything becomes more challenging for them. And their tension, their self-brought on tension, creates only more issues as they continue reading the script. So the lesson here, I think, is, I know the lesson is, there will be times in your life when you lose connection. There will be times in your life when you stumble on a word in a script, when you have the wrong printout, when you don't understand what the client is asking for. There will be times that you make mistakes repeatedly. And when that happens, stay calm, stay focused, apologize, and move on. So I hope that that was a little help in any way. To the question of setting up a home studio, let me first ask Siobhan if you can still hear me clearly.
I can hear you good enough.
Good enough, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me. I'm the one that asked the question. Can I just say something really quick?
Of course you can.
So I tape off a shitty Android. I get hired and I get sent to a studio. Obviously, I've never had to build a home studio. The auditions I'm getting now are asking for broadcast quality. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out, where do I go from my Android phone?
So you're one of the few voice actors who are generally brought into studios for work, and that's terrific. And there are others. In the major cities, sometimes there are a handful of a small percentage of voice actors who are commonly brought into studios. The voiceover world has gone through the transition of reading originally everything in studio, including auditions, to then doing auditions at home and then going into the studio for the job. And now the vast majority of times, the entire audition and job are done for the voice actors home studio. You're one of the last ones who are still recording in commercial studios. And I believe that for the foreseeable future, there will continue to be commercial studios like ours in New York City and Los Angeles and so on. That said, to set up a home studio, there's so many details that go into it. I can, as I did for a previous question today, I'll just give you the buckets. One is the most important factor of your studio at home is the acoustics. By far, it is more important to have acoustically correct sounding studio than it is to have correct sounding equipment. I'm going to give you an example of that. The greatest microphone in the world will sound crappy in a bad sounding studio, whereas a cheap snowball $50 microphone, your Android phone, well, the Android sound better than a snowball, but a $50 snowball USB microphone will sound pretty darn good in a good acoustic sounding studio. So number one, focus on the acoustics of your room, and that means soundproofing and sound absorption. Second thing is the equipment. And when it comes to purchasing equipment, you can ask on forums what microphone is good and what digital audio workstation is good, but what works for one person does not work for everyone else. I had an analogy recently about thinking about buying jeans. Just because jeans, like you might prefer Levi's brand, it doesn't mean that Levi's jeans look or feel right on someone else. Everyone has to try them on for themselves. But you can't purchase equipment if you don't know what to listen for. If you don't have the ears of an engineer, then selecting the right microphone is sort of meaningless, right? So in terms of buying equipment, the ultimate best thing to do is work with a sound engineer who knows the voiceover world inside and out, and have them help you purchase the right equipment. Have them listen to your voice. They can tell you what type of microphones might be best for you based upon your natural voice, the genres that you record, and the acoustics of your studio, and then purchase equipment from that point on. And as far as the digital audio workstation, they all do the same thing, they just do it differently. Just like cars, they all do the same thing, just they're laid out differently. You just have to find one that feels right to you. Those are the things that I would think about. So it's a good question, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Guys, I know we're still experiencing interference. I don't know what really to do about it except like get through and we'll have the recording. So like I can understand what he's saying. It's just kind of frustrating. I don't know how everybody's experiencing this in the way that I am, but let's just keep pressing forward. And if it's like super bad, I don't know, we will adjust. But okay. So because I want to talk to you guys. So we've got from Stephen Bartel. Hi, Stephen. Interested in your top 5 suggestions for getting VO business. He's on voices.com and Explore Talent, as well as a few other sources, but not a lot of traffic. So do you have I don't know if it's top 5 or a big suggestion, or what would you say, David, for getting VO business?
Well, I think that you can break down your marketing into a couple of different categories. There's online casting sites, and I have a hard time imagining how you could not get a lot of auditions through the online casting sites. There's just so much work through them. Voices.com, Voice123, Bodalgo, and so on. Then there are, I would say, less quality, lower priced sites, which I suggest avoiding, like Upwork and things of that nature. I think that when you work for $5 or $10 or very inexpensive prices, you're demeaning the entire voiceover community. A third way to get work would be to contact clients directly. And there is a skill set to that. And it's quite possible to get a lot of work and a lot of repeat clients by making some direct contacts. You have to do it right. And I don't think we have time on this call to go into that, but it can really generate a lot of business for a voice actor. You can go the agent route or even a manager. And that's sometimes a great route, but it's not right for everyone. I mean, there's so many other ways. You can barter work, you can join the city council, a chamber of commerce, meet small businesses, go to presentations. Putting up a website is not really helpful in usually it's not helpful in establishing new clients, because the chance that your website ranks in the top 10 or top 20 is generally pretty difficult. But so usually a website is there to be able to back up your work for a client who is showing interest. I think that those would be the major avenues of getting work offhand. If I think of any others during the call, I'll certainly mention them.
Okay. Amy's asking, It sounds like she's saying that she has a demo under her belt. She has a demo and clients under her belt, but is asking if now is a good time to be submitting to agents.
Yeah, I think that it's a great time to submit to agents. I think that I think you can't go wrong. Um, I will say, just as a little disclaimer, so I'd get a more accurate description of this from our casting teams here at Edge, but you know, if the economy is failing, if it's declining for any reason, then one could say, well, agents have less work, so theoretically they have more time to listen to me, and maybe it's a good time for them to beef up their library of voice actors. And if they're busy, you could reason that, well, it's a great time to reach out to them because they're busy and they need voice actors. But what I would specifically say is that when you reach out to agents or any production studio, the vast majority of time, voice actors do a pretty horrendous job of reaching out. So make sure you reach out in such a way that it clearly demonstrates who you are and what you do, how you can offer something that's different. Make it super easy for whoever it is that you're contacting to know more about you, to understand why and when they would hire you. So rather than saying, "Hi, I'm a voice actor," you might call yourself an audiobook narrator or a corporate narrator, a commercial voice actor, whatever it might be. Give yourself a title. Let them know that you specialize in factual information or you're great at ad-libbing. Give them something to hold on to so they know how to file you and when to hire you, and give them something to keep you top of mind. So that's really the big piece of this. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I have to say for that.
Okay, awesome. It's fun. As I'm going through the chat, I'm like, you guys are making me laugh, and you're funny, and you're like, the interference is because of David's passionate hand gestures. It's just hilarious. Okay, I love you guys. So this is from Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary. I'm sort of bouncing around if there were kind of similar questions. I want to kind of jump to some varying ones. And so from Rosemary, what is your definition of a polished voice? Or David, how do you want to take that question? Take that anywhere you want.
Yeah, I think that there are a couple of different ways to define that. I think it's sort of ambiguous. So one way to say a polished voice is someone who knows the basic technical stuff. They have it down. They're good at what they do. They're polished. But there is sometimes a negative connotation with that word polished, because sometimes, and quite often, in fact, and this came up earlier today, the client wants a voice that is natural sounding. And if you say that you are polished, for example, they might think, well, then you're extra articulate, you're extra clear, you may sound a bit stilted, maybe a bit robotic. And there's the possibility that could turn off some clients. Of course, it depends on the type of work that you're being considered for. So if you're being brought in, for example, to record ESL recordings, English as a second language, for example, then a very clear enunciation is necessary, and a very consistent type of voice might be necessary. And maybe a polished voice is good, whereas if it's for an everyday sounding commercial, a polished voice may not sound that good. So that is a word that can go either way as I'm thinking about it. That is an interesting topic. So I guess, you know what, I would say that there is a takeaway. And the takeaway is, anytime you define your voice for a prospective client, I would run it by a bunch of different people, myself or someone else, and say, is there any way that the way I am marketing myself could be a turnoff? I remember learning about this in high school when the Chevrolet, the car company, they came out with the Nova, this classic car. And when they began selling it in Europe, it failed, because in Europe, Nova means don't go. And so, but they never thought about that, evidently. So when you market yourself, you may not be thinking about different ways or ambiguous meanings of words that you use. So again, ask someone who hasn't seen your branding. Ask them if, how your branding could be interpreted, and make sure that it's always in a positive way.
Okay, awesome. All right, I have a question. It's in this chat somewhere from a lovely person whose name is Benjamin, who is saying, how important is it to do pre-production stuff, such as adjusting settings on GarageBand when submitting for an audition?
Well, I can't answer that question because I don't know, Benjamin, I don't know your voice. So some of the digital audio workstations, which we call DAWs, we call them by the initials, some of the DAWs have wonderful presets, and sometimes they don't have wonderful presets. But I've never in all of these years have I found a preset that can't be tweaked, to enhance the voice actor's sound quality. Sometimes it's a small tweak, sometimes it's a massive tweak. Sometimes the presets just sound really bad on someone, and we sort of create an entirely new template. So it depends on your voice. And again, as I've said many times in this call, it greatly depends on the quality of your studio. So, you try some presets, but more than likely you'll have to tweak those presets. And I will tell you that if you don't know what to listen for, if you don't know how to judge, then get someone who can judge for you. In other words, hire an engineer, hire one of the engineers at Edge or wherever, and say, look, here's my voice on preset 1, and here's my voice on preset 2, and go down the list, and then let them say preset 4 is the closest. Why don't you use preset 4 and then make these 7 changes? And that might be a good way to go. But you need to make sure that you're really submitting high quality audio for your clients. That's critical.
Hello to LV. LV is saying, can you explain in detail what to expect from a remote coach session with David? How long are the sessions? And do you recommend 1 or 2 before doing the demo to have a better understanding? The session is done in 1 day and the demo is done. Yes, I can answer some logistical stuff. The sessions with us are 1 hour, and we recommend before a demo, it's really hard to say where you're at. So it depends on where you are in your process, I guess, or what you need in your career with your number of sessions you're doing. But yeah, the demo is going to be on a different day than the session so that you can practice before you record. David, do you want to talk a little bit more about that and what kind of happens in a private session with you?
Yeah, I can, but it's different for everyone. It depends on so many variables. It's something that's very smart to ask going into a session, and I wish more people did that. But I couldn't even begin to answer because I don't know where you are in your career. Anytime I begin working with by the way, Siobhan, I'm hearing a lot of noise, and I'm not sure where it's coming from, but if you can isolate whose microphone that is and mute them, that would be great.
I know, I'm trying. I'm hearing it too, and I
okay. See who you muted, and that did it.
Okay.
Thank you. So the first thing I do in anytime I begin working with someone is just figure out or ask a lot of questions and figure out where the voice actor is currently and where they want to get to, because that's point A to point B. That's the goal. Some people who come to me are brand new to the industry, and some are incredibly experienced. I've had the fortunate experience of working with many of the top voice actors out there, but they always have a goal. So whether it's they want to do part-time or full-time, they want to change genres. They've historically they've recorded, for example, commercials, but they'd like to get into audiobook narration. There is a goal, so it's establishing what that goal is and where they are right now in their career and where they need to get to. And then it's just a matter of putting everything together, considering the type of voice they have, the work they can do, when they can do the work. It's different for everyone. Everything is custom tailored. We have 24 coaches at Edge, and I also coach. So there are about 25 of us who will coach, and we're all on the same page here. I will tell you that all 25 of us leave notes in our database for any other coach who picks up the session. And I know that there are a number of people on this call right now who have coached with me. So you can always drop a question into the question box, and maybe some people can write back some things. And you guys should all be, feel comfortable being honest. If you felt that the sessions were worthwhile, write so. And if you felt they were not worthwhile, let someone know. Let's be honest. But yeah, it's a smart question to ask. As far as the demo goes, demo is totally custom tailored to you. It has to be. So I worked very closely with voice actors to make sure that the scripts are unique, they're tailored to you, and that they show off the best of you. That's critical. And the other thing is, I will not record, none of us here, none of the 25 coaches will let you record a demo unless we feel that you are ready to do it on your own. Because if we walk you through the steps of recording a demo, if we have to give you line reads, you might sound marketable, but then you'll never be able to reproduce that on your own, which means you're not able to, it's just false, right? You're misrepresenting yourself as you go out there and try to get work. So we make sure that you learn how to do this stuff on your own. That's a critical step of this.
Okay, I want to be mindful of time and energy, but I know we sort of have lost some time. Do people want to hang on for another 10 minutes? David, do you have time to do another 10 minutes? Should we?
I owe it to everyone. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here.
Yeah, if I want to keep on, I want to go through a little longer if that's okay with folks. If you need to peace out, again, I'm recording, so we might get to a question anyway. And I do think this is a Zoom issue because we've been doing this we've had 8 sessions and haven't had this problem. So I'm going to go ahead and again, blame the thing that can't defend itself right now. But again, I want to get to this content. Of course, we will be here 2 weeks from now, doing this again. So these things should be resolved on the 16th, but since we're here, let's keep going. This is a kind of technique question, so I'm happy to switch it up from Erica. Do you have any tips for how to eliminate glottal stops, especially for words that follow a vowel sound?
Yeah, let me think that words that follow a vowel. Usually the glottal stop happens. Oh, someone has a deep voice, whoever said that. Wow. Usually the glottal stop happens before the word that begins with a vowel. So first, let me define what a glottal stop is, and then I will sort of give you a quick 1, 2, 3 on how to eliminate it, because it is something that you want to eliminate. You really need to eliminate it. Hey, Siobhan, can you mute that person whose microphone is opened? Yeah, that's much quieter. Okay. So a glottal stop is when the voice actor unintentionally pauses before a word that begins with a vowel. I want to repeat that. When the voice actor unintentionally pauses before words that begin with vowels. So if there is a script that says, we have every item in stock, more than likely the voice actor will say, we have every item in stock, rather than we have every item in stock. One of the biggest reasons why voice actors are not hired is because they are choppy. So if you have these glottal stops in your voice, then you are choppy, and clients are usually turned off from your vocal performance. In other words, they don't hire you as readily. So let me demonstrate that again. The example with a glottal stop would be, we have every item in stock. Or another example would be, our doors are always opened, where it's generally preferred that you connect your words together. So you would say, our doors are always opened. There's nothing wrong with pausing before a word that begins with a vowel if it is intentional. In other words, if you want to put a dramatic pause there, if you have a punctuation mark there that you are observing, if you're taking a breath, if it's a logical place for a breath, nothing wrong with that at all. So I repeat, the definition of a glottal stop is when you unintentionally pause before words that begin with vowels, and virtually every new voice actor does. And a great example, you've probably heard this 1,000 times. If you call a company and you get the telephony system, you'll typically hear the voice actor say, your call may be recorded or monitored. And there's no reason to pause between those words, right? I'm sure the script does not have a comma. I'm sure the script does not say your call may be recorded, comma, or monitored. But the voice actor will generally pause there. Your call may be recorded or monitored. But it's really nice if you connect those words. For example, your call may be recorded or monitored. There's no reason to pause before the word or. The way to get rid of those words is to make sure you slur the words together. Blend the words, just like all of the other words in the script connect. And that's the technique. If you need more help with that, work with the coach, work with me. I love helping voice actors get rid of glottal stops. I will tell you that any classical singers are taught to remove glottal stops. It's not just in voiceover that this happens. It's in singing and voiceover. Good question.
Okay, marvelous, marvelous. Yeah, I put in the chat. I appreciate everybody's like positive energy so much, and it's great. People are like, "Oh, I've done coaching with David and can talk about it." You guys are all just like, I just want to give you. You can't see me anymore, but I just love you. So I'm saying it. From Bill, my man, Bill Lord. He says, I've seen a significant number of actors in the earlier stages of their VO career who don't have tons of money to invest into their business. Word. Many of them feel they just need to put a demo together so they can get out there and earn jobs. Is that wise, or should they wait until they can afford a professionally produced demo?
The
Go
latter.
ahead, David.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
the latter. Because if you put out a demo that is not of professional standards, you're just wasting your own time. You're setting a bad first impression. I mean, I can't imagine that someone who is untrained could record a professional sounding studio from home. I mean, it's taken Edge Studio years to really like get the process down. I mean, like we still get better. And no matter how good we are, I hope that tomorrow we're even better than we are today. And we've been at this for 31 years, actually coming on 32 years now. So there are people voice actors and engineers who have a pretty big head start on you. And so doing it on your own when you are untrained and not really ready to do this, you'll end up wasting the time of the casting teams and spinning your own wheels and probably getting nowhere. And like I said, setting a bad first impression. It would make a whole lot more sense to get some training. One thing you can do if you don't have money, as the question I mentioned, if you have no budget for training, then go to our website and use something called the feedback forum. The feedback forum is a peer-to-peer review on our site. So you can upload a recording from your home, and other peers, other people in the voiceover community will go on and provide comments. And so everyone reviews everyone's work. And it's, like I said, it's free, so you can use it. You don't need to spend any money. You can find scripts to record in our free script library also on our website. So you can get free scripts and you can upload them for free. And then you get emails that say, hey, congrats, a fellow voice actor has provided some feedback on your voice. Click here, and then you click there and you see the feedback. I will say that not everyone who is on the feedback forum is super trained. So take all of their comments with a grain of salt. But if you find some common denominators, then I would trust the feedback you're getting. In other words, if 4 people say you have glottal stops, or you're too slow, or you're too this, or you're too that, or you forgot to do this, or whatever it might be, then chances are that that's accurate. And it's a great way to start training without having to spend any money. It won't get you all the way to professional status, but it will certainly help get you some portion of the way. Ideally, you take a couple of training sessions first before using the feedback form. So if you have any money to invest, do at least some training.
Yeah, I feel like that's the sad, honest truth of voiceover is people are like, you should just do voiceover. And it's like, nobody just does voiceover. One of our students, Mia Banks, we were talking on Instagram, and she was like, yeah, voiceover is not Nike. You can't just do it. Okay, jokes. We got jokes. Kimberly's asking, and this might be a short answer. Nonfiction authors are reading their own books, and a lot of them don't sound good to listen to in the audiobook world. Why are they reading their own work? Is that a normal trend?
I think it's not a trend. I've seen Well, I can only speak from our studio, but note that we have recorded hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of audiobooks. But we have seen a trend where the authors are reading their own work less often, unless it's a brand new author self-publishing. Sometimes in those situations they are still recording on a more consistent basis. But once you get to the more mainstream books, yeah, I've seen a downward trend in that. But again, that's only at our studio. That said, I've questioned that question myself. Like, why are they reading? I think the equally as absurd analogy is, just because you write a book doesn't mean that you should star in the movie, right? Just because you are a good author doesn't mean you can be a good actor. Likewise, just because you might be a good author doesn't mean that you can be a good voice actor. But for some reason, maybe they want to save money. Maybe the author thinks that they understand the content better. Whatever reason, they just think that they can read it themselves. Sometimes I've come across some authors who are pretty darn good, but more than 50% of the time that is not the case, and they end up wasting their own time and spinning their own wheels, as we discussed earlier, because the book won't sell as well. It just won't. So we have had a number of authors come to us and say, I do want to record my own book. Can I get some training first? And then they can train with one of our audiobook coaches. We have 2 audiobook coaches here who are terrific, Carol Monda and Johnny Heller. So if you're interested in audiobook narration, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, they're terrific coaches to work with, like amazing coaches to work with.
Okay. How long? Okay? We're at 2:10. David, how are you doing? Do you want to wrap at 2:15? How are people feeling?
That's
How do you
fine.
feel, David? Okay, let's wrap at 2:15 so we can try to get. And again, guys, I'm jumping. If I feel like we've kind of answered the question, I'm gonna kind of move ahead. Okay, so Ron is asking, just how sophisticated does your home studio need to be for production, and what level of production beyond, simply reading will it have to be? Yeah. So David, can you sort of tackle? I know we've talked about essentials for home studios, but is that a short answer kind of question, perhaps?
It's a real short answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. While the guts of your computer are sophisticated, what's on the outside does not need to be sophisticated. Seriously, studios are so simple today compared to what they were years ago. I mean, you're talking about having a recording software, which is called a DAW. DAW is an initialism for digital audio workstation. You download a DAW for $50, $100, or you use Audacity. That's free. And you can buy a microphone and plug it directly into your computer these days, like a USB microphone. And there are some USB microphones, some new ones out, which sound absolutely fantastic. We just did a test about 2 weeks ago on a new USB microphone. We compared it to a non-USB microphone, and the quality was absolutely identical. Some of us felt that the USB even sounded a smidge better. And the mic is like $200. It's amazing. Otherwise, there's not much equipment needed. You have a pop filter on your microphone, you have a music stand, but these studios are not technical at all these days. And besides recording, you need to be good at editing, and you have to be organized enough to be able to save information on all of your sessions. So when you record a session, you save the microphone and the settings that you recorded with. So if the client comes back to you a year later and says, hey, last year you recorded this video for us, we need a slight change to slide number 17. Well, you need to make sure that you still have the same microphone and you've written down those settings so you can match the sound quality. So again, you need to be organized. That's it, guys. It's basic stuff these days. It's unbelievable how simple it is, how straightforward it is compared to where it was 31 years ago. So that's
Someone was asking about a website and if you need your headshot on the website. And I think I can sort of tackle that one, David, if that's cool, really quickly. I think it's really up to you. People, a lot of folks have simply a logo or an illustration. Sometimes folks get themselves illustrated as part of their logo. Sometimes folks have a professional photograph. I would say if it's not a high quality professional photograph, you don't post a not good selfie. Have some take care of yourself and have some dignity. It's not essential to have a photo of yourself, especially if it is not something that looks professional. Your website is your front facing, it's your storefront, and you need to have your best presentation possible. And then I'm going to do one more question to wrap us up. Super. Yeah,
Yvonne,
go ahead, David. Yeah.
I feel that we need to add a little bit of information to that. What you said is terrific.
Okay.
And I agree, but there are a couple of other things to consider, everyone. In addition to not having a selfie or unprofessional looking photograph, if you have a photograph, number one, make sure that it shows you in a pose of some sort that will attract a potential customer, make them think that you are actually working. So that typically might be one in your studio, sitting at your computer or something of the sort, rather than you and your family or you and your pet dog or something like that. Unless you're marketing yourself in a specific way, usually the personal shots don't make sense here. You want a professional shot. Also, if you sound and look different from one another, then don't use a headshot. Let me explain what I mean. If you look American, but your language is Chinese, for example, Mandarin. Well, when people see your photograph, they'll see someone who looks American, and they'll think that you speak English. Oh, Siobhan, are you?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say that American everybody looks American.
Sorry, I don't mean to make this. No, maybe I'm using the wrong words here. But if you look Chinese, oh, here's an example. I have a very good friend who is a voice actor, a professional voice actor, and his parents are from the States. He is Caucasian, but he was born in mainland China. He grew up in China. Chinese is his mother tongue, and he does voiceover. And he marketed with a headshot, and everyone saw him and thought that he spoke English, American English, because that's what it looks like he speaks. But he doesn't speak American English as his first language. Chinese is his language, and he lost work as a result. First impression is critical. When clients would look at him or his website or his headshot, I should say, they assumed, incorrectly so, but they assumed that because he looks like he would speak American English, they assumed that that's what he spoke. But he provides Chinese narration, Chinese voiceover. So he removed the headshot from his site, and as a result, he got more work. My point was, if you look like you sound, or if you sound like you look, I think a headshot can be a good thing. But if your image doesn't convey what your sound is, then there may be a disconnect. You may be misrepresenting yourself. I hope that makes sense. Does it, Siobhan?
I think so. Yeah. And I want to wrap because I want to tackle this question because everybody there's a lot of an ending part. People are asking about mics. And so one person was saying, does making a decision between condenser versus dynamic microphone, so he's asking if that wouldn't or shouldn't be the determining factor? Because some folks are saying that it should be the determining factor.
There's no determining factor.
Okay.
Buy a microphone based on your voice, how your voice reacts to the microphone. There are a couple of dynamic microphones that are still used in the industry, like some electro voice microphones and so on, a couple of shotgun microphones. Generally speaking, a condenser is much better for a human voice, though. Condenser microphone means that it is electrically powered, whether it takes batteries or plugs in, and sometimes it plugs into some weird power source called phantom power, whether it takes batteries or plugs into the wall or is powered by your computer or powered by phantom power. Because it is electrically powered, it responds much more quickly to transients in your voice, and therefore it captures a cleaner, crisper sound. So usually condenser is the choice for a microphone rather than dynamic microphones, which work with magnets inside them, and so they're clunkier on the insides, and the microphone doesn't respond as quickly. But again, that's not 100% of the time. There is never ever 100%. There's nothing in this industry that is 100% of the time. Anyone tells you you always do this, or this microphone is always the best microphone, or whatever it might be, they're wrong. There are times and places for everything. There are exceptions to everything. So yeah, usually condenser, but not always.
Okay, and then because people are talking about, David, do you have recommendations for a good USB mic?
The one,
I mean, I guess, yeah.
There again, I will tell you the one that we just did a trial with one of the big music retailers. But just because I'm telling you that our trial went well doesn't mean that it's the microphone that's best for your voice. That I've made clear multiple occasions during this call. That said, we just tested out the Audio-Technica 2020 mic, the USB version, and comparing it to the non-USB, the condenser version. And in our tests, I think we had four of us. We had four of us doing a test on these two microphones side by side. We worked with Sweetwater, which is a music retailer, on this, and two of us felt that the sound quality was on par with each other, and two of us felt that the USB version actually sounded a smidge cleaner than the non-USB version. And the mic itself is like I don't know, like $170, $180. I mean, it was a phenomenal sounding microphone. And in a good sounding booth, it sounds absolutely terrific. It's not as good as a $5,000 Neumann microphone, for example, but maybe it's 98% of the way there, or 95% of the way there. And if you have good acoustics in your studio, I think you're okay. I really do. Because, well, I don't need to go into why, but it's impressive. But there are other microphones out there, USB microphones, which are really good. So,
okay. Yeah. Yes, great. Yeah, they were. Thank you for bringing the one they tested. Actually, folks were asking about the one that we had tested. So, okay, amazing, y'all. I think so. We're at 2:20. I know we've been here for a while. I really appreciate you hanging in. David, I'll just throw one more tech thing at you. Is mic stands? Do you feel strongly about a good mic stand?
Yeah, I do. Make sure you have a microphone stand that has something padded at the bottom. Some microphone stands come with little rubber feeties at the base of the tripod, or if it's a weighted stand, make sure there's something soft, or at minimum, put the stand on a piece of foam or extra thick carpeting or a moving blanket or something sturdy, just because it will stop sound vibrations from sort of flowing up the microphone and getting onto the microphone. I'm sorry, it will stop sound vibrations flowing up the microphone stand and eventually getting onto the microphone. The alternative is to buy a shock mount for the microphone, which sort of does the same thing. It encapsulates the microphone around this little like bubble thing. The microphone in a bubble is really what it becomes. But that's just, it costs more, is one more thing to get in the way. I think it's not typically necessary. And if you buy a good microphone, it will last for a long time. And even a good I'm sorry, I meant to say microphone stand. It will last for a long time. They're not even that expensive. I mean, $30, $40, you're getting a microphone stand that will last for a while, because theoretically you'll set it once and not have to touch it again. One last piece of advice on this. Most microphone stands are, I think they're all adjustable, and take the extra second, everyone, to adjust microphone stands appropriately. In other words, loosen the gears before you raise it or lower it, and then tighten the gears. It's very tempting to just want to lower or raise the microphone and just kind of muscle it up or down, but then you will strip the gears down and the microphone stand will fail, and you'll end up having to go and buy another microphone stand. So take the extra second and just loosen the gear, adjust the microphone, and then tighten the gears again.
Okay, thank you, my people, very much for being here. We super appreciate you. Sorry for the technical issues, but they did resolve. Like Randy was like, oh, we haven't had problems in the past, after, of course, at the very end, there everything goes away. But my people, please, if you will, drop your social media handles in the chat if you would like us to follow you, and we can encourage everybody following each other so we can continue the dialogues. We are on Twitter at Edge Studio, simply, and then we are on Instagram at Edge Studio VO. We are, again, with this link right here, you can get $25 off any of our coaching sessions with any coach simply for being here with us today. We love and appreciate you and value your time. We miss seeing your faces. People have been asking about the links. Absolutely, they are on our YouTube channel. They are also on our all social media as they get posted. So I'll be uploading this video this afternoon, and it'll go up this weekend. And you can, if you follow us, you will see links to the previous 7 sessions that we have had. Yes, I'm seeing your handles. Thank you. I love to see it. I love to see your handles. And we will be doing this once again on the 16th of July, same bat time, which is Thursday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. I so appreciate my people, my friend from London here, Bruce. I appreciate all of y'all. And thanks for your patience. I hope it's helpful. We want to be helpful. The intention here is just to have positive energy and community. And, you know, we miss it a lot. Part of our wonder of having a studio is that people come in and out and we get to be with you guys. So, yeah, so thanks for being with us. David, anything else that I've missed for the moment?
No, you apologized for the technical issues, and my sincerest apology. And guys, I just hope that you were able to hear enough to make the time worthwhile.
Yes.
And yeah, and I want to give a shout out to all of you for being here and dedicating your time. We really enjoy helping as much as we can. And a shout out to Siobhan for doing a stellar job, sort of carrying me through this while my connectivity was horrendous. And thank you all. I wish you a fantastic 2 weeks, and I hope that you come back on 2 weeks from now.
Yes, we'll see you soon. We'll see you soon, and we'll be in touch on socials before then. And this video will be posted. A link will be posted. Yes, you can pop up your videos and wave goodbye to me, because I do love to see your faces. Oh, bye. Bye, Gretchen. So nice to see you. Nice to see you, Kimberly and Tony and Benjamin and Amy. Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. Alenda, Bruce in London. Goodbye. Randy, goodbye. Barry, goodbye. Bill and the Tiger King. Bye, Don. Bye, Bob. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming, Lisa. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
I'm gonna save the chat, and now I am out. Mwah. Goodbye.